Kenny Pickett is officially QB1 in Pittsburgh. How should you value him in your dynasty leagues going forward? And what other rookie quarterbacks could start sooner rather than later? All that and more this episode of the Locked On Dynasty Football Podcast.
You are Locked On Dynasty Football, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Here are your hosts, Mosher and Kate Magdziuk.
Today's episode is presented by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is daily fantasy made easy. All you have to do is pick 2 to 5 players, and if they score more or less than the Prize Pick projection, you can win up to 10 times your money on your entry. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with promo code Locked On. That is prizepicks.com, promo code Locked On. I am Marcus Mosher. You can follow me on Twitter at Marcus_Mosher. She is Kate Magdziuk. Follow her on Twitter at FFBallBlast. Kate, your Steelers have a new quarterback starting this week against the Buffalo Bills. How are you doing today?
We got a new big hand man in Pittsburgh. I mean, it was necessary, but
Yep.
Marcus, I was of the belief that I didn't really think that you could bring Mitch Trubisky to the bench at this point and then not keep rolling with Kenny Pickett. I just don't think that that's what the Steelers do. I don't feel like that was a move that would have been congruent with what like they're building in that culture. I do feel like bringing him in, I don't think Pittsburgh's about that back and forth kind of like, they make their commitment and then they dig their heels into the ground for the next 10 to 12 year. Yeah. It just like that. It's Kenny Pickett time. Now, what does that mean for the rest of the offense? I think that's a really interesting question, Marcus, because their upcoming schedule is fantastically brutal. And my question to you is, how much do you buy into the old adage that you can break your rookie quarterback by sending him into drown in rough waters way too soon?
Oh, you absolutely can, right? I mean, we've seen it happen with several high, draft pick prospects where they're playing in games that they're not ready to play in. Now, the good thing with Pickett compared to like, say, Mark Sanchez or something like that is that Pickett's got a ton of experience, right? He was an older prospect coming out. He was a 5th-year senior. Like, he's played a lot, Kate. So I don't think he's going to get to these games and it's going to be just so overwhelming and so fast for him that he's not ready. But there's a chance that Pittsburgh just gets crushed in some of these games and he has some turnovers like we saw last week and that kind of stuff. But I'm not worried about the next 4 games breaking Kenny Pickett and making him somebody that the Steelers have to bench or anything like that.
I also think that, like, so far, the Steelers have been putting him in a good spot in terms of a game plan. Like, the kind of, like, game management type plays, like, that's all Matt Canada seems to execute is, like, game management. Like, we're not going to try to put the ball in too many crazy places. So I think that kind of works for Kenny Pickett. Now, what are your expectations this week? What do you think that, I guess, like, long-term trajectory? Like, we just saw Kenny Pickett have 2 rushing touchdowns in his debut. Does that bump up his fantasy stock for you? And where is he lying in your dynasty rankings?
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to rush for 8 or 9 touchdowns the rest of the season. Like, that's just not going to happen. However, it's a really nice tiebreaker. Like, for example, right now on Dynasty League Football, he's being ranked right next to Mac Jones. Mac Jones is QB 20. Kenny Pickett is QB 21. Both those quarterbacks are 24 years old. Mac Jones obviously has a year under his belt, but Mac Jones isn't going to get any kind of rushing upside. Like, if he rushes for 2 touchdowns in a season, that's going to be awesome. So, yeah, I would take Kenny Pickett and the little bit higher ceiling because of the rushing potential over Mac Jones. But I don't know, Kate. I still think he is he's a QB2 at this point, and probably more on the lower end range of the QB2 than closer to top 10, top 12, or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, in general, this team is going to have its growing pains,
Yeah.
and you need to be very patient with that. But along with that comes, Kenny Pickett and his hands, tiny little growing pains. And
Well, can I ask you this? We saw these two quarterbacks last week against each other, Zach Wilson and Kenny Pickett. I mean, I know we're really looking at a half sample size, a half of a game sample size in which Zach Wilson's first game back, Kenny Pickett's first game action. But just after watching that, is there a way that you would lean there?
Probably Pickett. I'm not a Pickett person. What an
Literally.
alliteration.
Yeah.
I mean, I've made my feelings about Kenny Pickett and like perfectly clear, but I mean, I think based on what we've seen so far from Zach Wilson, I'm not looking to invest. And
Yeah.
I don't think we're seeing the growth that we really want to see. He's had time to sit and
Yep.
really like develop the brain part of things. And I don't think we've seen enough for how much time he's gotten to sit back and learn.
And here's the other thing that you mentioned just at the top is Pittsburgh is a very patient organization, right? They are going to give, to a fault sometimes, right? They are going to give Pickett every opportunity to grow into this franchise quarterback role. If he struggles for 3 years, I don't think they're going to bench him, right? They're invested in him. So, I mean, obviously the Jets are as well, but we know Pittsburgh is the most loyal organization in football. So I think there's just a floor with Pickett that some of these other quarterbacks don't have, like New England, maybe Miami with Tua, Chicago certainly with Justin Fields, the 49ers with Trey Lance. Even though we like those prospects better, there is something for the safety of just knowing Kenny Pickett's going to be the starting quarterback for the Steelers for the foreseeable future.
Our lives.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna get like what 3 presidential terms probably to figure it out. Like, it's crazy, but it's you know that's the case. Like Pittsburgh is going to be loyal to a fault with Kenny Pickett, even if he's only average. But that does matter when it comes to dynasty football.
Marcus, I want to see the over/under number of presidential terms that we see Kenny Pickett under center, regardless of performance.
So I would say 2.5 would be the number, right?
Yeah, and I'm just gonna smash the over, knowing what Pittsburgh likes to do to my soul. But this is a good chat.
Let's talk about some other rookie quarterbacks that we're maybe interested in seeing. But before we do that, I want to tell you about Elias. Do you ever wish that before every NFL game you could get the most up-to-date and accurate information before placing your bets or locking in your fantasy lineup? Well, now you can with the Elias Game Plan app. It is the ultimate sports betting and fantasy companion for the NFL, NBA, and MLB. Whether you're part of big fantasy tournaments, you like to place bets, or you're just a big sports fan and a stats nerd, Elias Game Plan has everything you need. Elias Game Plan is a sports app from the most trusted name in sports stats, the Elias Sports Bureau. You can hear their trusted facts all the time on ESPN, local TV broadcasts. You can hear it sometimes during the national games as well. But now you can have all the stats, facts, and team and player updates in the palm of your hand, and they are all backed by their renowned research team. And with their new chat function, you can talk to them directly and receive the information you need to back your big decisions on your betting or your fantasy leagues. Plus, they have a new weekly survivor pool that's pretty cool. Take this NFL season to the next level and download the Elias Game Plan app today. Choose from one of 3 game plans when you subscribe. They have a weekly, a monthly, or an annual subscription. But we've got a deal for you. You can get 25% off your first month when you choose the monthly subscription. All you have to do is use promo code LOCKEDON25. Find Elias Game Plan Sports Betting in the App Store or Google Play Store today and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL25. All right, Kate, there is another rookie quarterback that is just waiting in the wings, begging to get on the field because this other quarterback threw 7 passes last week. That's Desmond Ridder. And we know that you have been a Desmond Ridder fan for a while. My question for you is, how quickly do you think we're going to see Ridder on the field for the Atlanta Falcons?
Week 6. Like,
next week.
Honestly, maybe week 5, Marcus. Like, I don't know what is the end game here, right? Like, so I think the sooner the better, personally. I think that the Falcons, like, maybe not week 5. Okay, maybe like with this upcoming, upcoming game against like the Bucks defense, if we're gonna kind of like sway away from the direction of sending Kenny Pickett into the fire, if we want to preserve Desmond Ridder for one more week, let's go.
Yeah, but hold on. Do you know who they play in
I
week
was just
6?
about to look. Who are they playing in week 6?
49ers.
Oh, that's even worse. Yeah, let's just
Yeah.
get it over. Let's just rip off the Band-Aid.
Yeah.
And toss him into the fire in week 5. But Marcus, like, what I think this needs to come down, and the way that I'm approaching this for Dynasty and like looking to acquire my Desmond Ridder shares, like, I'm approaching this from a team logic perspective. Is that how it's going to play out? I don't know, but like the team got a very solid steal, right? Like, Desmond Ridder was potentially touted as a first round pick. Didn't work out that way because this entire class just got pushed down the draft board because they, turns out, weren't super good. But
Yep.
like, if you could get that first round quarterback in round 3, Marcus, like, you have to see if you are going to be able to actually tap into that quarterback. And
Yep.
like, can that be the quarterback of the future? Because right now they're 2-2. If the season ended today, they'd be having a top 10 pick. It's
Yep.
not a far cry. It's not a far leap to say that they can find themselves in contention for a top pick
I think
before
it's
the end
likely.
of season.
Yeah,
And like,
we should also mention, just really sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but
yeah,
their schedule is brutal. And I know they're 2-2 now, so there's people out there can say, "Hey, they got a chance to sneak into the playoffs. The NFC is really weak." Just read you their schedule over the next couple of weeks. At Tampa Bay, home against the 49ers, at the Bengals, home against the Panthers, they can win. Home against the Chargers, at the Panthers. I mean, they've got some tough games coming up. Like, I could very easily see them losing their next 4 games, and you go from 2-2 to 2-6, and all of a sudden we're talking about this team having a top 10 pick. To your point, you've got to figure out what you have in Ridder, right? You've got to at least have some idea, because if you have the number 2 pick and Bryce Young and CJ Stroud are there, you got to know what you need to do.
yeah, that is the big that's the big kicker for me, is trying to figure out, like, if you can look at this, 3rd round pick quarterback, and that could be your future, why not just try it out? Why not figure it out
Yeah.
and make sure that, you can't use that pick? Because, I mean, if you can take that top pick in the 2023 draft and utilize that on anything but a quarterback, because you've already got your guy, you need to know that ahead of time.
Yep. I agree. I would also mention that if Mariota was playing better and the Falcons were 2-2, I think you give him a little bit more of a leash, right? But Kate, over the last 3 games, and I know they're 2-1, and I know they've been competitive in every game, he's averaging 12 completions. But what's even more surprising to me is, how many rushing yards do you think Marcus Mariota has in his last 3 games? Just give me a number.
50?
23. Like, he's not even running anymore. And when you sign Marcus Mariota, the idea is, hey, he can scramble on 3rd downs and pick up stuff, pick up 3rd downs. And now without Corral Patterson for the next 4 weeks, we need to use his legs. I don't know if he's that player anymore. So if he's not giving you the rushing upside, he's not making a lot of big plays in the passing game, he's completing only 56% of his passes. What are we doing here, Atlanta? It's at least time, maybe after the 49ers game, to see Desmond Ridder for the second half of the season.
Yeah, I just think it makes too much sense from a real life football perspective. I don't know what the upside is for Marcus Mariota.
Yeah.
Like, passer rating, 3 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Like, the guy's turning over the ball. Like, you have literally nothing to lose, period.
Yep.
And I don't know, 7 turnover worthy plays, Marcus, and the guy's not really doing anything. Like he's
Yep.
not, he's not throwing that often. Just
It's there is another quarterback out there, Kate, that I think is more likely to start games than Desmond Ritter. We're gonna get to him in just a second. I'm gonna leave him on the back burner for our third segment, but want to run through a couple other quarterbacks really quickly. Matt Corral, he's on the season-ending IR list. That's a big bummer because Baker Mayfield has been so awful right now. He's actually the lowest graded quarterback according to Pro Football Focus. He's got the lowest QBR according to ESPN. It's just a bummer because I think with the way the Panthers season is going, Matt Corral would have had a chance to start at some point. So that one just bums me out.
Yeah, for sure. This is not like I don't know what the Panthers are really going to be doing here. I just it's not working. The experiment isn't working, and I did not like like apparently I just didn't like any quarterbacks. I'm
Wow.
just like
You
a
and
very
I.
grumpy. Yeah, me, you, and I guess every other NFL franchise. But like
Outside of the Steelers, they were trying to trade up for Kenny Pickett.
Matt Corral specifically, though, I was very out on Matt Corral
Yeah.
and very much like, but even I'm saying, okay, it's time for Matt Corral if it weren't for this unfortunate injury.
What's also a big bummer is I don't think Carolina's good at all, and their schedule gets really tough. But Kate, if the season ended right now, the Panthers would have the number 2 pick, and I don't know about you, but I see almost no way that Matt Rule is back next year. So what
No,
does that mean? It means a new front office, probably a new coaching staff, and they're going to want to draft their guy. And all of a sudden, that means we're going into year 2 of Matt Corral, and he has no chance of starting. So just a bummer. That's all.
it's a bummer. And there is one more rookie that I'm just kind of wondering, when are we going to see him? Any guesses?
Yeah, is it the one in Washington?
It might be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's save him for the final segment. Really quickly, Malik Willis, so the quarterback that a lot of people did like pre-draft. I don't think we're going to see him anytime soon. I think Ryan Tannehill has actually played pretty well over the last couple of weeks. The Titans, I don't know if they're a contender, but I think they are a decent team. And I think he needs time. Like of all the quarterbacks that we're going to talk about, I think he is the one that could really benefit from a year sitting behind Ryan Tannehill, learning. He played at Liberty. I unless there's an injury, I wouldn't expect to see him on the field this year.
Yeah, and I mean, in that one brief instance we saw against the Bills where he came in, I mean, like for as awful as Ryan Tannehill played, Malik Willis did not play any better
No.
whatsoever. 1.5 yards per attempt. He had 4 completions for a single passing yard in that instance. Like I think the box score tells a little bit of a different story than Ryan Tannehill. I don't think it's as bad as the box score would lead you to believe. But the Titans are not the same team that they were a year ago, that's for sure. And but I also don't think that it feels like Malik Willis is ready. If we're grading rookies on their readiness right now, like
He's the
Malik
lowest, right?
Willis, yeah, he's definitely he's lower than Pickett, he's lower than Ritter, and probably lower than the guy we're gonna talk about next.
Bailey Zappi? No. No. All right, let's talk about a certain quarterback in Washington. But before we do that, I want to tell you about LinkedIn. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high stakes wager for your small business. You want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people for your team faster and, most importantly, for free. All you have to do is add the purple hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile, post your job that you're hiring, and you're good. They have simple tools like screening questions, making it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires compared to leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnfl. That is linkedin.com/lockedonnfl to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. All right, Kate, I'm going to just give you the floor. Sam Howell with the Washington Commanders. How quickly do we see him on the field?
I don't feel like there's anything to lose, Marcus. This entire franchise is like, I don't know. It feels like it's burning to the ground right now. I mean, you have this, guys, I don't know if you've seen it, this beautiful, glorious clip of two Washington Commanders, offensive linemen, right? Just blocking each
Just
other.
blocking each other. Yep.
Like things are not going well in Commanders land. Not that they like ever really are, but Sam Howell, like, what are we doing not getting him into the game? Like, we saw lots of upside, led all quarterbacks in the preseason with 545 yards. Like didn't like blow you away by any means, but was willing to sling the ball down the field. 10.3 yards per target, or average depth of target. Sorry. Like I think for what he's working with and what he worked with in that preseason, like showed some legs. I guess again, on the same note that I say to, the other teams here that are trying out their rookie quarterbacks before they end up in the top 5 and have some potential for top draft capital. Like, why aren't you seeing what you have in Sam Howell and seeing, like, could we have just gotten a steal in, was it round 5? Like,
somewhere like
is that somebody we can roll with in the future? Because if so, that's great. And we can use our top tier or our top end pick elsewhere. And like, why not?
So I agree. Carson Wentz has been a disaster over the last 2 weeks. Now, and you can contribute a little bit of that to the defenses they've played with Philadelphia and Dallas. The offensive line's not very good, but it's pretty clear he's not the answer either. Like, he's not able to overcome some bad things around him. So should mention Washington's schedule really quickly because I think this matters. They play at Tennessee, or excuse me, they host Tennessee this week, and then they play at Chicago next Thursday night. So I doubt you want to throw in your rookie quarterback on a short week, but maybe after that, like if Washington loses both of those games and you're sitting at, what would they be at the time, 1-5, give him 10 days to get ready for the Packers. Maybe. I think that would be, I think that's probably the most ideal way to handle this. But knowing that, that's probably why Washington won't do it.
Yep, that seems to be on brand for Washington.
Do you think there's just a plan that maybe they just want to completely redshirt him? Like, let's not expose him on this bad team with the bad offensive line. Let's have another year in the system, and then we'll kind of see where he's at next summer, next fall.
See, I just wonder, like, you're going to be in contention. Like, they're already slated. If the season ended today, that's a top 7 pick.
I know.
Like, so, and I don't see it getting better from here. I don't think they're going to magically find the answer. So again, like, all of these teams with these rookie quarterbacks that they drafted late, they're all in contention for a top pick in the 2023 draft. I don't know why you're not exploring the rookies that you have. Because if your 3rd, 4th, 5th round rookie quarterback hits, because all of these guys, had, rumors, whether or not it was started by their own camp, who knows? But like, all of these guys had potential to have been drafted in the 1st round if teams were willing to reach on the quarterback position, right? Like, they were all kind of in a similar tier. I just don't get why all of these teams who drafted these rookie quarterbacks, and all of them are in contention for a top pick, why wouldn't you be exploring that? I don't know. But bad teams, this is why bad teams stay bad. Yeah.
Just really quickly before we head out, even though we're not huge Kenny Pickett fans, I think we're probably somewhere in the middle. We both have him as still the highest rated dynasty quarterback, just because of we think he's going to get a lot of chances in Pittsburgh. They do have a lot of weapons. After that, I think you and I are both higher on Desmond Ridder than most. He would be our QB2.
Yep.
And then after that, between Matt Corral, Malik Willis, Sam Howell, it's kind of just pick your flavor, right? That's how I view the quarterback position. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think after the top two for me, it really comes down to where are you in your stage of dynasty? Like, do you need a guy that might be starting sooner rather than later? Because that would be Matt Corral. Do you have the luxury of time because you're literally just starting your rebuild? That might be a Malik Willis fit. Like, I think that's when you take, I think all of these guys have different traits that provide them upside, but I think the tiebreaker for that next tier of quarterback is really just where you are in your dynasty situation right now.
All right, that is it for today's show. Thank you for making Locked On Dynasty your first listen every single day. Now make your second listen to Peacock and Williamson NFL show. Brian Peacock and former NFL scout Matt Williamson give you the expert NFL analysis in less than 30 minutes. It's free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure that you're downloading and listening to the show wherever you get your podcasts. Kate and I will be back tomorrow to preview week 5, do a little promotion commotion. By the way, our promotion commotion hits have been just incredible. So if you need somebody to help you out in a flex spot, make sure you're tuning into that. I think we've had somebody score like 15 points every single week in that spot. So crushing it. Follow Kate at FF Ball Blast. I am at Marcus _Mosher. We'll see you guys right back here tomorrow.